peeling paint off the walls, and, like, she goes batshit.
Yeah, she flips her shit. She says that's the Dreamwalker's name. And when she can't find a way out of the room, she smashes her head into the wall. And, yeah, she's shooting lightning everywhere. And Verna has to use the Radahan to make her knock it off and put her into what she hopes is a dreamless sleep.
She just puts her right down. Yeah. Well, yeah, especially the dreamless sleep after she's talking about a dream walker.
Yeah.
Now, something that struck me as funny for a second. When you hear about crazy people bashing their head up against the wall, he's like, ha ha ha, they're crazy. And then we watched Joker last year, where they have that scene where she's like, now, how are you feeling? Do you remember this in the asylum or whatever when you were there? And it does this cut scene to where he smashes his head into this brick wall like twice. Yeah. But it was such a dead thud that it, like, I don't know, to me, ceased to be funny. And it's not funny. It shouldn't have been funny in the first place. But, like, that sickening thud, like, oh my God, stop that person.
Yeah.
Because damage is inevitable.
You hit your head once, and shit's bad.
And it was just like, oh God. And it's, I guess that's where I was coming from. At first it was like, oh, crazy person hitting their head. And it's like, no, severe medical trauma just happened already, and you were in the room and couldn't do anything to stop it.
Well, and I mean, just there has to be a certain level of, like, you want the shit in your brain to shut off so badly that you're able to shut this part of your brain up that tells you to not fucking hurt yourself.
Right. You're so desperate to make it stop that it's worth it.
Yeah, because, like, you can't bite your hand. Like, if you bite somebody else, you could, like, bite a finger off or some shit, right? But you can't do it to yourself unless you were, like, a little bit off, because
you want me to try?
No.
I see your eyes.
Well, my point is your brain won't let you do that.
Right.
So, in order to, like, I mean, maybe it's not that bad if you smash your head on the wall. Maybe you don't have to get quite that far over that mental block. But, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand. You got to be a little unhinged to do this.
To be able to smash your head into a brick wall. Just
recalled Kurt Suiter's portrayal of, I can't think of his name in
Otto?
Sons of Otto. Yeah, when he, like, spoiler alert for Sons of Anarchy, he doesn't want to say anything, so he can't confess, and so he, like, slams his head on a table and bites his own tongue off, and wow. Just...
Yeah.
But like you said, he's been in there a long time, he's got to be unhinged, and you have to have a really, really big need to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, she wanted to make sure he wasn't going to get back in her brain right now, so boom. So, as they're walking away, Warren tells Verna he doesn't think Simona is insane in the traditional sense. He dances around...
Because obviously she is.
Yeah,
with the face thing.
Yeah. He dances around his point, though, a little bit. But he tells her eventually that the Dreamwalkers were mentioned in the 2 oldest books he has. Like, these are over 3,000 years old. They're like dust at this point. But earlier, your point about him saying, dreams were mentioned. No, dreams weren't fucking mentioned. Or if they were, you're leaving out the walkers part, dick.
Yeah. That implies that there is more to be discovered, sir.
Yeah. So,
and that they're 3,000 years old.
Yeah.
And it was this very specific term. Just that. Even if he didn't want to tell her everything he knew, he could have been like, she's talking about Dreamwalkers, and I just read some shit about Dreamwalkers. So, like, right there, that's all you have to say. Yes, let's go look.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing. After walking out of that room, just the 2 of them, hearing her say that the Emperor who is coming is a Dreamwalker and he's been visiting her and tormenting her in her sleep, they both should have been like... Because Verna's immediate question is, did you find out what you needed to know? My immediate thought after walking out of the room was like, we have fucking problems.
Oh yeah, big problems.
Like, I don't know what you wanted us in there for, but yeah, I'm glad we went because holy shit.
I also don't feel like, did you find out what you needed to know was the appropriate question for Verna to ask?
Yeah.
I would have maybe first asked, what were you trying to find out?
Yeah.
And then, was your problem resolved?
Yeah. Well, and but you couldn't even ask that, I feel like, because the shit you just found out while you were in there is, like, scary. Like, even if you think that lady is unhinged, if there's even a kernel of truth to anything she's saying, it's fucking bad.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So,
and bears investigation,
yes,
too.
so you should have a fire under your ass after walking out of that room, not just being like, Warren, fill me in.
Yeah, did you get what you need? Can I go back to my chair? I have a lot of letters to write today.
I have
letters
so many
being
initials.
Yeah.
But, okay, so these books that he found, they're like the only 2 that he has, because most other texts from that time were destroyed, and that time was the Great War, okay?
Right.
The Dreamwalkers were described in these texts almost like a weapon, similar to the way that people refer to the Blade Masters with like a type of reverence,
like a person as a weapon kind of a deal.
Yeah, like an entity that's not a person but is a person but could be a person who's just really badass at their thing.
Yeah, superhero.
Yeah, exactly.
Or villain. Whichever.
So,
Richard. Richard is a fucking weapon.
Bringer of death.
Tell me he's not.
The Seeker. Actually, it's probably a pretty good...
Yes, the Seeker.
The Seeker is probably
the Seeker
referenced as a
is the weapon.
Yeah.
The sword is the tool.
Yes.
Boom!
So, Warren doesn't know much about these Dreamwalkers, but he's pretty sure that the Towers of Perdition were built to stop them. Like, we don't want them in the New World. Keep those bitches back there. And at that, Warren...
Speaking of Richard...
Yeah, at that, Verna, actually, is the one that's like, that's not good. Richard tore that shit down. And now there's rumors of a Dreamwalker? Shit. That's not good.
I would ask the question, how long has she been locked up for?
Mm-hmm.
Was it just after Richard took them down, or was this happening beforehand? Now, on the other hand, it doesn't really matter because they are in the old world. They're on Jagang's side of this fucking wall, so it could have been happening beforehand.
It's just interesting that Dreamwalkers have been silent, and not really a part of
not in play.
Anything, until right fucking now when the towers go down. Even if he's been doing some shit, like, it's weird that nobody has, like, uttered anything about weird dreams, like, culturally in the old world where this is happening, right?
I mean, yeah, look, a lot of people don't believe in coincidences, and I feel like this is definitely one of those things. Like, obviously, Richard is the new factor in this equation, and he just changed some shit, and suddenly the Dreamwalkers are here, and they're creating a problem for us. That's gotta be related.
No, and see, I don't disagree, but if Jagang is the Emperor, and he's a fucking Dreamwalker, then he's been a Dreamwalker for a while. And so that's all my point,
Like nobody would have known about that?
Yeah, like it's been a secret until Richard. Yeah.
Oh,
now
I
Richard
see.
took the towers down, and now it's all coming out, which is weird.
Very weird. I mean, look, there could have been a reason for Jagang to keep this secret. I feel like probably not. Now, we know about the Sisters of the Dark, so we know that he uses this power to control people, to make them do what he wants them to do. And by using his power, reveals himself as being the thing that he is.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Maybe it was hidden from public knowledge of him being a Dreamwalker, but I feel like, obviously, like, Simona, I don't want to lose the A again.
Oh, I wrote it as Simone for the entire notes and had to go back.
A.
I had to go back and put A's on all of them. I was like, shit.
But I feel like she knows what he is.
Yeah.
So he's exposing himself by using the power. Probably the masses of public didn't know. But there were people who did.
Yes.
They just weren't talking. Or were probably too fucking terrified to talk.
Or they couldn't, They couldn't. And, I mean, that makes sense. I just think it's interesting that it's a complete, total, wrapped up secret until Richard. Richard is Richard.
Richard is the weapon.
Talking about what happened to Simona once again, Warren mentions that there were mentions... Oh, I put mentions twice. That's weird.
You mentioned that earlier, I think that I should mention.
Well, Warren...
Mention again the note you were just reading.
God damn it, Nate.
I'm sorry.
So, Warren says there were mentions of Dreamwalkers slipping in a way and leaving the victim unable to distinguish reality from the dream. And since intellect doesn't really come into play while you're sleeping, like, you could think you could fly because your brain doesn't really tell you you can't fly while you're sleeping. Magic users can do things they wouldn't normally be able to do, making dreams real and, like, bending reality. Like, dreamwalkers can fuck with shit.
So he's tapping into magic while they're sleeping and unable to control it, but
Yes.
he can make that magic happen to affect something else, I'm assuming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, hey, you're invisible, and then uses that person's magic to, like, actually make them invisible. Not that they couldn't do that without magic before, but then, like, you died, and you're a ghost now, and you're invisible, so when you wake up and start walking around, nobody sees you. Holy shit, he's just bent my reality.
Yeah, see,
That's a shitty example, but it's an example.
That's what it sounded like to me. I was a little confused because so far we haven't really seen examples of him using magic in that way. Like, everything we've seen him do has been relatively normal for magic users, and it's basically just been, like, him showing up and, like, hurting people in real life. Like,
Right.
I can give you bruises on your titties while I'm far away type reality.
And maybe that's it. Maybe it's just the simple fact that, no, I was dreaming, but he did this thing to me and it's real. So was it a dream? I'm not sure.
And that might be what it is, but the way Warren said it right there made it seem like they could fucking paint the sky if that's what he wanted him to do, just because they couldn't in their dream. Like, you know what I mean?
And
like,
then they wake up and all clouds are bright green for whatever reason.
yeah, now they shit rainbows. Like, it's he made it seem like the Dreamwalkers could do the impossible because of dreaming. So I think it's probably more like what you said, but it left us some interpretation.
I think the more important question here is, do they poop butterflies?
Eat butterflies and poop
And
rainbows.
poop rainbows? Yeah.
Yeah. That's important. Here's
I
a
love
cue. Hugh. Okay.
Smack
We're
the microphone.
falling apart. We have one more note left. So, randomly, after a few moments of silence, Warren asks, who died? And Verna tells him nobody's fucking died since Anne and Nathan. Like, why are you even asking me this? And that's when Warren starts to wonder what the fuck the gravediggers were hired for.
Yeah, then what were they doing? There was a pyre, a.k.a. burned up, a.k.a. no bodies, genius.
So now we have mystery missing horses and tack. We have graves that were dug for some fucking reason. For expensive. Like, they were expensive grave diggers.
Expensive graves.
With
no bodies to put in them.
Right. And I feel like there was something else. My first thought was that maybe the sisters took the horses, but obviously not, because that would have been, like, noted. My other thought was the tack was Richard breaking, like, the stuff, right? But then she...
Verna's like, don't worry about it. I know what happened to all that.
But obviously...
You're not using a spade bit, are you?
Right.
Because them shits would have been gone for sure.
Yeah, because obviously she would have known that was Richard,
right.
So that's not what it's about. But, yeah, so... something to do with horses and gravediggers.
But see, in a weird way, it's actually useful that she was doing all that wasteful paperwork, because she actually did learn that,
yeah, she figured some shit
hey,
out.
there's some stuff going on maybe we should look into.
Also the ring. We have to figure out who did the ring.
That's right.
That's
Not
the other
everything
mystery.
is as it seems.
Mysteries.
And we are 100% full steam ahead in this book, I feel like, at this point.
Chugga chugga.
There is... You mean beer? I'll go right now.
Go, go, go. I'm just kidding. I don't want you to.
Oh, because I got to talk.
Yeah.
And that's hard while you double chug a beer.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll wait till the end. And then...
Then we'll party.
Yes, then we'll party.
Fuck yeah, Monday night.
Well, I think that does it for this chapter, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, I know I had a good time. I hollered a lot. I laughed much and loudly, and I like that. Then you can let us know by writing an email to podcastatt@gmail.com or shooting us a text or a voicemail at 616-259-0025. If you wanted to further discuss this episode or just check out some cool pictures and shit on the social medias, you can find us on all of those at Podcast ATT. And if you really, really want us to like you, you can go to patreon.com/podcastatt and make a pledge. We appreciate the hell out of it. And you know what? Maybe you don't want to make a pledge. Maybe you can't make a pledge. That's totally fine. We have something else you could do for us. You could leave us a 5-star rating